Good morning to all of you. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. So in last class, we have finished the topic Jahangir. Okay. So we need to discuss painting in Jahangir. We will discuss it. Painting, this topic is important. Painting during the Mughal period and particularly during the Jahangir's time. This is important. And after this ruler, the next ruler was Shah Jahan. The next ruler was Shah Jahan. The time period of Jahangir was 16052 to 1627, and the time period of Shah Jahan was 1627-28 to 1658. And then the next ruler will come. The next ruler is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb. The time period is 1658 to 1707. This is the time period of Aurangzeb. Now in Shah Jahan, what is important? Shah Jahan's contribution to architecture. This is important for prelims and mains both. Shah Jahan's contribution to architecture. This is important. Now in Shah Jahan's history, there are a lot of political, you can say that, events, but that are not very much important for the examination. Like I have discussed with you earlier, that among Jahangir's sons, two were, for example, one was the Khushro, the second was the Parvez. I have discussed it in the last class. One son of Jahangir was Khushro, the second son was Parvez, then the next son was Seher Yar, right? And one son was Khurram. One son was Khurram. So this Khurram becomes successful and he becomes the next Mughal emperor by the name of Shah Jahan. Okay, so this we have already discussed. Okay, so Khurram becomes the ruler by the name of Shah Jahan, right? So he was Shah Jahan. So when we talk about Shah Jahan, basically this was Khurram, one of the Jahangir's son who became successful, and there was fratricidal wars of conflict, right? And Khurram was son-in-law of Asaf Khan. Asaf Khan was the brother of Noor Jahan. Okay, why these informations I discussed? Because we must know that when Jahangir was ruling, there were different groups in Mughal court. One group was Noor Jahan block or junta, Noor Jahan Gut, right? In the same way, Asaf Khan block, Asaf Khan junta, or the Asaf Khan block. It means that when Jahangir was ruling, court conspiracies started becoming important. Got it? Courtiers were divided. Okay, and this is what weakness of the Mughal power, right? When court conspiracy is increasing, it means the Mughal emperor is not efficient enough to handle the task of administration. Got it? Now, Shah Jahan has important achievements as well, military achievements as well. For example, Shah Jahan was successful in developing a good command and protection on north-west frontiers. Okay, plus Shah Jahan has also a Deccan policy. Shah Jahan also developed a Deccan policy, but this Deccan policy was not very much successful. In Deccan policy, he made a campaign, military campaign against Ahmednagar state. Ahmednagar state. This Ahmednagar state is coming frequently. I have also discussed this Ahmednagar state in Akbar's time. So he made a military expedition on Ahmednagar state. It means that with this regard, he follows the policy of Akbar, he follows the policy of Jahangir. And like Akbar and Jahangir, he also made efforts to establish control over the Ahmednagar state, right? The year was 1636. The year was 1636 AD. Shah Jahan is the ruler. Year was 1636 AD, right? So this happened. Now, he also tried to annex Golconda and Bijapur. Shah Jahan also tried to annex Golconda and Bijapur, but he was not successful in establishing complete control over Bijapur and Golconda. He annexed some territories of Bijapur and Golconda, but not all, right? He annexed some territories of Bijapur and Golconda, but not all. Is it clear? And what was the problem with these Deccan states? The problem was you will try to establish control over them. After some time, right, they will declare their independence. Acha, Shweta is asking Ibadat Khana. Okay, I will discuss Ibadat Khana concept. That's very simple. Okay, so that is the what? Deccan policy. Now, Aurangzeb will do what? Shah Jahan will do what? Again, here we see, okay, some conflicts between his sons. Okay, for example, his eldest son was Dara Shikoh, right? And Shah Jahan had prepared his mind that my successor will be Dara Shikoh, right? He was his eldest son. And he was one of the most liberal person. He was like Akbar. Dara Shikoh was like Akbar. And Shah Jahan had made up his mind that I will make Dara Shikoh my successor. Okay, so this was the, you can say that, plan of Shah Jahan, that eldest son Dara Shikoh, eldest son Dara Shikoh will be the successor. He was planning for this. And Dara Shikoh was, okay, as liberal and as progressive as Akbar. As liberal and as progressive as Akbar. If Dara Shikoh would have been the next ruler, so the history might be something different here. What we'll read in Mughal history, तो वो कुछ बदल जाता, right? So he was as liberal and as progressive as Akbar, right? But there is a problem. And what is that problem? Aurangzeb is there. And Aurangzeb was made Viceroy of Deccan region for the same reason कि औरंगजेब को सेंट्रल पॉलिटिक्स से हटा के कहाँ भेज दिया? डक्कन में, right? So when Shah Jahan was ruling, Aurangzeb was made, when Shah Jahan was ruling, Aurangzeb was made Viceroy of Deccan and South India. Aurangzeb was made Viceroy of Deccan and South India. So Aurangzeb was a military governor. He was made Viceroy of Deccan and South India. Okay. Dara Shah Jahan wanted to make his son Dara Shikoh his successor. But Aurangzeb will do what? Aurangzeb will kill his brothers and will forcefully, okay, acquire the throne. So this is Aurangzeb. 1658, what Aurangzeb does? He forcefully acquires the throne. Okay, he forcefully acquires the throne by killing his brothers. He forcefully acquires his throne. Now it was against the wishes of his father. He does not want that Aurangzeb will be the ruler. What Aurangzeb will do? Aurangzeb will imprison his father Shah Jahan. ठीक है, जेल में डाल देगा उसको. So Aurangzeb also imprisoned his father Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb also imprisoned his father Shah Jahan. Okay, so he was imprisoned when Aurangzeb becomes the ruler. So 1658, Shah Jahan was imprisoned, and for the next 8 years he was in jail. Okay, he was a royal prisoner. Means जब राजा को prisoner बनाया जाता, that's called royal prisoner. For the next 8 years he was in jail until he died. It means Aurangzeb died. Sorry, Shah Jahan died in which year? 1666. Right? Shah Jahan died after 8 years and he was in jail. Aurangzeb imprisoned Shah Jahan. So he imprisoned his father, okay, for power. So this is one important development here. Okay, now we need to understand or discuss this topic in detail, Aurangzeb in detail. This is a basic introduction. I hope you are familiar with Shah Jahan. Architecture I will discuss separately. I am not entering into unnecessary portions that are not required in our GS. Generally, if you want to read, you can read a lot, but that will be of no any use. Now the third topic is here Aurangzeb, and this we need to discuss in detail. Okay, so write this headline, that is Aurangzeb. About Aurangzeb, I have also discussed a few stuff in the last class. I hope you remember this. कुछ तो discuss किया हमने, right? Historians debate the different perspectives of historians. Basically, the basic purpose of studying this chapter is we need to understand that how Aurangzeb ensured the process of decline of Mughal Empire. How Aurangzeb was responsible for beginning or initiating the process of decline of Mughal Empire. Only this concept we need to understand in this entire chapter. So write this, which concept we need to understand. That will be the focus of all our discussion. This concept we need to understand, that how Aurangzeb ensured the process of decline of Mughal power in India. This concept we need to understand. How Aurangzeb ensured the process of decline of Mughal power in India. Clear? We need to answer this question once we understand this debate. Now I am going to discuss here one part of story you already know, that Shah Jahan was not in the favor of making Aurangzeb as the next ruler. He was in the favor of bringing Dara Shikoh. But Aurangzeb forcefully acquires the throne and he imprisoned his father Shah Jahan. Okay, for the next year Shah Jahan will be in prison and he will die in 1666. This is liberal or not liberal? Which act? This act is humane or not? He imprisoned his own father. Okay, so this act cannot be said to be as a liberal act, right? So process तो यहीं से शुरू हो जाता है कि this act was not a liberal act. This act was not a liberal act. He forcefully acquires the throne. He forcefully acquires the throne or the power. Okay, and now when he becomes the ruler, what does he do? So his entire time period can be divided into two phases, and in this way we can understand it very easily. The first phase was from 1658 to 1681. This is the first phase of his rule, and this part from 1658 to 1707, this is the second phase of his rule. Okay, why I have divided this first phase and second phase? Because here in the first phase his policies were more focused or concentrated. His policies were more focused and concentrated for the northern part of his empire, right? His policies were more focused or concentrated for the northern part of his empire. And here in second phase we see that his policies is more focused in for the southern part of his empire. It means Deccan and South Indian region. Okay, so this is Deccan campaign in second phase. Okay, now what are the important administrative decisions taken by Aurangzeb? Important administrative decisions taken by Aurangzeb in the first phase of his rule. Important administrative decisions taken by Aurangzeb in the first phase of his rule. Many of the important decisions you already are familiar with. What is the important decisions? Core Islamic practices and beliefs will be emphasized. That I have already discussed. That here more focus or emphasis is is on the implementation of, more focus or emphasis is on the implementation of core Islamic practices and beliefs. Core Islamic practices and beliefs. How can we say that? In last class, I have discussed with you that an officer was appointed. What was the name of that officer? Muhatsib. What was the task of that officer? Okay, to censor, okay, that the people are working in accordance with the Islamic practices or beliefs or not. Censor of moral behavior was Muhatsib. So this is easily visible here, because here appointment of an officer, this officer is called Muhatsib, and Muhatsib is like the censor, the officers who is responsible for censoring moral behavior in the society. Okay, Muhatsib. Now what is the second example? Kalima. Can it be inscribed on the coins? Yes or no? No. Kalima cannot be inscribed on the coins. Kalima cannot be inscribed on the coins. Okay? What is the third point? Some policies were also introduced by Shah Jahan. Okay, but his policies are more radical. How this is more radical, I will discuss later. Now, okay, drinks, intoxicating drinks were prohibited. Okay, this was also not in sync with the Islamic practices and beliefs, right? If it is being done, if this all is being done, this will give a message among the people that the ruler is more inclined towards which religion? Islam religion. And what Akbar did? Akbar did what? Akbar gave a message to the people that I am not more inclined towards a particular religion. Instead, I give equal respect to all religions. So there is a difference, and this difference is seen here. And that's why we say that reversal of Akbar's policies were started here. Okay, and now what Aurangzeb decides here, that is again very surprising. For example, there are different orders of Aurangzeb. So the orders of ruler or emperor are called Farman, right? We all know this Farman. So in 1659, the very next year when he becomes the ruler, this is the year 1659, this Farman is known as Banaras Farman. This Farman is known as Banaras Farman. And what was said in this Banaras Farman? In Banaras Farman, it was said that, okay, new temples cannot be constructed. Okay, restriction. It means new temples cannot be constructed. It was announced in 1659. In 1664, a new announcement which says that old temples cannot be repaired. Old temples cannot be repaired. New temples cannot be constructed. Old temples cannot be repaired. In 1667, again a new order, and this all is with respect to the north. And what is the new order? New order is that, okay, if you are a Hindu merchant and if you are a Muslim merchant, so if you are a Hindu merchant, you will have to pay custom duty, that will be extra custom duty, 2.5% more you will pay. Is this discriminatory trade policy? Yes, Hindus will have to pay more, और इसका message जाएगा, that message is not good, right? So what we see here is that discriminatory, okay, tariff, discriminatory tariff was announced for, discriminatory tariff was announced for Hindu merchants and Muslim merchants. This is happening. Discriminatory tariff is announced for Hindu merchants and Muslim merchants. In the next year, that is 1668, Hindu religious fairs were also forbidden. Hindu religious fairs were also forbidden. Hindu religious fairs were also forbidden. This is one decision. Clear? In 1669, right, he announced that those temples, okay, those Hindu temples, which are also the center of education, and those who are promoting Hindu ideals in a more effective manner, they must be demolished. This is the new Farman in 1669, because temples were also the center of education, we know. So Aurangzeb is saying that those who are effectively teaching, okay, the Hindu practices, they must be demolished. Okay, so temple demolition, orders of temple demolition is issued. And finally, the year 1679. This is very important. Highlight, mark it important. 1679. Highlight this year. All years we don't need to remember. This is, I am discussing years only because you can understand that all these decisions were taken in which phase? First phase or second phase? Look here. First phase. That's why we have written the years. Got it? So try to get the essence of the topic. Ratta marna nahi hai, right? Don't do this. So 1679, what happened? Read this. Jizya tax was reimposed. Jizya tax was reimposed. So this is what? Reimposition of jizya. Reimposition of jizya. It was done. Reimposition of jizya. It was done. Now tell me, which message, what will be the impact of these administrative decisions? Just imagine. Will it have the same impact as during the times of Akbar? No, right? It will give a message that the ruler is inclined towards a particular religion and the ruler is promoting the core Islamic practices and beliefs, and this will promote dissatisfaction among the majority of population, that is the population of Hindus. Got it? These decisions will do what? All these decisions will, okay, give this message that the ruler is more inclined, towards the promotion of a particular religion. The ruler is more inclined towards the promotion of a particular religion. This message will be spread. The ruler is more inclined towards the promotion of a particular religion, and this will promote dissatisfaction. This will promote dissatisfaction among the majority population, that is the population of Hindus. Pallavi jizya was imposed in the year 1679, reimposed. ठीक है ना? So this will promote dissatisfaction among the majority population, that is the population of Hindus. Now tell me, Rajput rulers and Rajput chiefs were Hindus. So it will also promote a dissatisfaction in the minds of Rajput chiefs. Got it? Because they were also Hindu. So this will also promote a kind of dissatisfaction in the minds of Rajput chiefs. Okay. Now some historians write that the number of Hindu, you can say that officials was very high at the time of Aurangzeb, but the number of, you can say that superior officials or the mansabdars, superior officials who were Hindus, their number was declined. Overall number of Hindu officials remained constant, or even you can say that it was highest, but the relations with the Rajput chiefs were disturbed to some extent. Okay, now this happened. Rajput chiefs were also dissatisfied. Hindus were also dissatisfied. Now you tell me, the revolts and rebellions of Hindus will increase or not? Yes, the revolts and rebellions of Hindus will increase. Overall, we see what? That in first phase, in north, what is happening? The revolts and rebellions of Hindus, the revolts and rebellions of Hindu chiefs is increasing. The revolts and rebellions of Hindus, the revolts and rebellions of Hindu chiefs are increasing. Got it? Okay. Now, the same Rajputs, the same Rajput kings who helped Akbar in building a large empire in India, okay, how Akbar was successful in making a large empire in India, in carving out a large empire in India with the help and support of Rajput kings. Now the same Rajput kings are resisting Aurangzeb. Is this the reversal of Akbar's policies? Do you agree or not? Yes, this is the reversal of Akbar's policies. Got it? Reversal of Akbar's policies. Now, another important point I am discussing again with the context of North. We are discussing first phase only, right? We are discussing first phase. We are discussing important developments in North, important decisions that were taken in North. Okay, this is the year 1658. We are discussing this phase. Okay, now Sikh. Okay, Sikh issue. What is the Sikh issue here? Okay, so Jahangir had started the Sikh problem or challenge, how I have already discussed. Pata hai na aapko? Okay, when Khushro was blessed by Sikh Guru, so he was executed for that. Now what was happening? Aurangzeb was promoting Islamic beliefs and practices. On the other side, Sikh, they were also religious group. They were also a part of Hindus, right? And they were not complying with the orders of the Aurangzeb. And Sikh people were more consolidated and united. This was one of the most important feature, that Sikh people in India were more consolidated and united, right? The level of unity is very high. They were more consolidated and united, right? And Sikh gurus, there was the practice or tradition of Sikh gurus. So these Sikh gurus used to guide these Sikh groups. So what Sikh guru will say, the Sikh groups will follow, right? Now what was happening? Imperial orders were issued, and now Sikh gurus were criticizing those imperial orders. This is the point. For example, Guru Tegh Bahadur, he will do what? He will criticize the imperial orders. He will openly say that the decisions of Aurangzeb, okay, are not good. These cannot be justified. Okay. Now what will happen? When Aurangzeb will come to know that, okay, Guru Tegh Bahadur is criticizing my imperial orders. Okay. Now Aurangzeb will think of a solution of this. Okay. Guru Tegh Bahadur, GTB. In Delhi there is a GTB Nagar also. In the name is now GTB, Guru Tegh Bahadur. He was openly criticizing Aurangzeb's policies. Now Aurangzeb thought that if Guru Tegh Bahadur will accept Islam, so what will the impact of this? He thought that Sikh are a more consolidated and united group. So if Sikh Guru will be converted to Islam, so entire Sikh followers will also get converted to Islam. And when they will be converted to Islam, so they will support the presence of Muslim rule in India, Mughal rule in India, or they will be my loyal supporters. This is the idea of Aurangzeb. And again, this idea is what? Misconception. He should not apply this. So he will do what? He will ask Guru Tegh Bahadur to convert to Islam, right? He was brought to Delhi. He was asked that, okay, you must change your religion, okay, you must convert to Islam, and he denied. Guru Tegh Bahadur was denied. And when he denied, he was mercilessly killed. The year is 1675. Again, this is in first phase. Guru Tegh Bahadur was tortured and mercilessly killed. Mercilessly killed. Now what will be the impact of this? Do you think that it will create a sense of fear in the minds of Sikh followers? No. They will be more organized. They will be more united. And now they will fight a war. Continuous war. They will show a kind of strong resistance against Aurangzeb. So this will happen. Now the Sikh groups will be more consolidated under the leadership of Guru Gobind Singh, right? And they will do what? They will fight continuous and constant wars with the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. This is one problem, right? They will fight continuous wars with the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. So this is what? Revolts and rebellions against the Mughal power is increasing or decreasing? What is the answer? Increasing. And this happened due to the misguided policies of Aurangzeb. He took this decision. This was a wrong decision, and what happened? Revolts and rebellions will increase. Again, look at this year, 1675. This is in which phase? First phase. Decisions regarding North. In the same way, there is another concept, that is the concept of Jats and Satnamis. The concepts of Jats and Satnamis. I am only discussing information. What happened? There are different explanations by different group of historians. In last class, I have given you a hint. Okay, so we are not coming to that. I am only discussing what happened. For example, Jats and Satnamis. When we are talking about Jats, so Jats were like peasants group. Jats were like peasants group, and they were more concentrated in the areas around Mathura and Delhi. They were more concentrated in areas around Mathura and Delhi. Got it? Now, there are two problems here. Okay. Jats were the part of Hindu society. So they are the part of Hindu society. So they believe in Hindu idols, Hindu beliefs, and the actions of Aurangzeb are contrary to this. So that's why they were already dissatisfied. They were already dissatisfied by the imperial orders of Aurangzeb. Jats were dissatisfied. Got it? Now, the second point is what? I have already discussed with you that Aurangzeb gave additional powers to the Mansabdars. He increased the powers of Mansabdars. The additional powers are like giving Fauzdari powers to the Mansabdars. For what purpose he gave them these powers? That the revenue collection can be done in a forceful manner. More and more revenue can be collected. And with this revenue, Aurangzeb will be able to maintain a large and powerful army. And why he was maintaining that large and powerful army? Because in second phase, he has to do what? Deccan campaign. He is dreaming of conquering Bijapur and Golconda. That's why he need what? More money. Because there will be military expenses. So what he has done? He has already increased the powers of Mansabdars. Mansabdars were given additional powers. Mansabdars were given additional powers. And this additional power is Fauzdari powers. Mansabdars were given this additional power. Fauzdari powers. Clear? More power is concentrated in the hands of Mansabdar. Now they will do what? Forceful collection of land revenue. They will do this. Okay. And this forceful collection of land revenue will promote dissatisfaction among Jat peasants. Clear? They are already dissatisfied by this, and this will add their dissatisfaction. Now they are more dissatisfied. Their dissatisfaction have been multiplied. What will happen? These Jat groups will do what? Revolts. Okay, so frequent revolts by the different Jat groups is seen. At regular interval, the Jat peasants will do revolt. It's only Jat peasants or other peasants as well. Other peasants as well. Got it? But Jat resistance is a more powerful resistance. That's why this topic has been included. Got it? So that is what? Jat resistance. So in North, what has happened? Number of revolts and rebellions has been increased. Hindu revolts and rebellions, Rajput chiefs revolts and rebellions, Sikh revolts and rebellions, Jat revolts and rebellions have been increased. Now there is another concept. This issue of Satnamis. I hope you have understood the Jat issue. Clear? Now what is Satnami issue? Let's discuss. What is Satnami issue? Issue of Satnamis. Clear? So when we talk about Satnamis, Satnamis were also a kind of religious group. They were a part of Hindu society, right? So this is also called religious sect or semi-religious sect. Semi-religious sect. Why I am calling them semi-religious sect? Because they were religious people also. They were doing trade and commerce also, right? And for this doing this trade and commerce, they used to move from one place to another. They frequently moved from one place to another for doing trade and commerce. So this is a trading group as well as this is a religious group, right? And they had a different dressing sense, a particular dressing sense. Today also, India is a diverse country, and you will find that different religious groups dressed in a particular fashion or style. Okay? For example, Sikh dressing sense is something different. Okay? You will find people of Rajasthan dressed up in a different manner. People from Kerala, Tamil Nadu dressed up in a different manner. Okay? Different religious groups. The same is happening. Okay? They are also having a particular dressing sense or style. Now, how the problem started? Once some groups of Satnamis were assembled at a place, and there were some Mughal soldiers, soldiers of Aurangzeb. They made some remarks on the dresses, on practices of Satnamis. Satnamis reacted against these remarks. So there was a, you can say that, okay, you can say that conflict. This conflict was not very powerful. It was a minor conflict between the Satnamis and the Mughal soldiers. Now what an emperor should do in this situation? An emperor should smartly solve this deadlock, right? Because there were religious remarks, okay, but instead of solving this deadlock, the emperor sent additional army for the support of his soldiers. उसने अपने soldiers के support के लिए additional army भेजा. Now this minor conflict changed into a major conflict. And what will happen afterwards? The Satnamis will be in a state of continuous conflict with the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb. So this conflict was also, okay, we see increased. This problem को भी solve किया जा सकता था, but Aurangzeb failed to solve this problem. So due to the mistakes of Aurangzeb, what happened? Read this. Satnamis rose in continuous rebellion against the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb. Okay, now they were also doing continuous rebellion against the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb. Continuous rebellion against the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb. Okay, this happened. Now, the next important thing, again in the first phase, what Aurangzeb did? Aurangzeb fought wars with some powerful Hindu chiefs. Aurangzeb fought wars with some powerful Hindu chiefs. For example, okay, one war that he fought was against Marwar state. One war that he fought was against Marwar state. Year is 1678. Ratna nahi hai, right? Year is 1678. One war that he fought was against this Marwar state. Year was 1678. Again, the another war that he fought was with this Mewar state. Year was 1680. I am not discussing the war details. I want to give you an idea only. Now, will it create a dissatisfaction in the minds of Hindu chiefs? Yes. Now Hindu chiefs will be insecure because Aurangzeb fighting wars with these powerful Hindu chiefs. Okay. So write this. This will do what? The mutual trust that was previously built by the Emperor Aurangzeb with Rajputs by his Rajput policy. So that mutual trust and confidence was shaken. And that's why we say that Aurangzeb reversed the policies of Akbar. That mutual trust, mutual confidence was completely shaken by this decision of Aurangzeb. Okay. So can we say that In the first phase of his rule, Aurangzeb increased the challenges before the empire. Yes or no? Yes. And these challenges were increased by his administrative decisions. This is the most important thing. That in the first phase of his rule, in the first phase of his rule, in the first phase of his rule, Aurangzeb did what? So Aurangzeb reversed the policies of Akbar. Aurangzeb reversed the policies of Akbar. Okay. And by his administrative decisions, by his administrative decisions, by his administrative decisions, he increased the challenges. He increased the challenges before the Mughal Empire, right? He increased the challenges before the Mughal Empire. Got it? Aurangzeb reversed the policies of Akbar, and by his administrative decisions, he did what? He increased the challenges before the Mughal Empire. And this will be reflected in what? So, the number of revolts and rebellions, the number of revolts and rebellions will be increased. The number of revolts and rebellions will be increased. In north, number of revolts and rebellions will be increased in north. The concept is very simple. Number of revolts and rebellions is increased in north. What will be the outcome of this revolt and rebellion? क्या होगा इससे? Revenue collection will decline or not? Will drop or not? Yes. If you are doing a revolt against the Mughal emperor, so will you pay the revenue? No. So revolt or rebellion say economic loss. Revenue collection will drop. And second, if you will try to suppress those revolts and rebellions, what will happen? Military expenses will be incurred. Again, this is a revenue loss. So will it create economic challenges before the empire? The answer is yes. Increased number of revolts and rebellions will create economic challenge before the empire. So this is the concept here. That is, increased number of revolts and rebellions will create economic challenges before the empire, right? It will adversely affect the state treasury. It will increase the economic challenges before the empire. It will adversely affect the state treasury. It means how? So there are two aspects here. The revenue collection will decline, and due to the military expenses, again, okay, you can say that this will be like economic loss. So in the first phase of his rule, Aurangzeb created challenges before the empire. Now, what he does in the second phase of his rule? This is the second phase. 1681 to 1707 is the second phase. 1681 to 1707 is the second phase. What happens in this second phase? So I have told you earlier that when Shah Jahan was ruling, Aurangzeb was the viceroy of Deccan. And from that time, he was aspiring to establish full control over Deccan. Now tell me, the dream of establishing full control over Deccan and South India is a practical or not practical idea? This idea is not practical. We have already discussed. Muhammad bin Tughlaq also dreamed for the same, right? But he was not. Now Aurangzeb is also doing the same. Aurangzeb during the time of Shah Jahan, was the governor of Deccan. Now Aurangzeb was the emperor. Now Okay, he was wishing to establish, he was wishing to establish full control. He was wishing to establish full control over Deccan and South. This was his dream, establishing full control over Deccan and South. This is dreaming. And this idea was not practical. This idea was not practical. Example, MBT policies failed. We all know this. This idea was not practical. Okay. Aurangzeb made it more unpractical. How? Okay, so look here. Suppose we are talking about these territories. Okay. In last class, I have discussed with you maps, disintegration of Bahmani Empire. Then the states are Ahmednagar, Bidar, Barar, Bijapur, Golconda. Okay. Bijapur and Golconda were the most powerful state of South India at that time. When Aurangzeb was ruling, Bijapur and Golconda were the most powerful state. And in Deccan region, particularly Western Deccan, Marathas were ruling. And Marathas were also a powerful group here. Bijapur state is a powerful state here. And Golconda is a powerful state. And Marathas are a powerful group. Okay. And here, in South India, Deccan region, there was a lack of political unity among these powers. There was a lack of political unity among these powers. These states were in a state of continuous conflict with each other. आपस में लड़ते रहते थे, right? And in this way, they neutralize the power of each other. For example, if Marathas will constantly fight with Bijapur and Golconda, so when they are fighting constant wars, in this situation, what will happen? Fighting constant wars will neutralize the powers of each other. कमजोर हो जाओगे ना if you will fight continuous war. So Bijapur and Golconda, with Bijapur and Golconda, Marathas were fighting continuously wars. And that's why they were also neutralizing power of each other. They were also neutralizing power of, एक दूसरे के पावर को न्यूट्रलाइज कर रहे थे. Now when Aurangzeb will come, he will fight simultaneous wars with Marathas also, with Bijapur also, with Golconda also, and some other states also. I am not writing here some other states, those which are important, I am only writing this. When Aurangzeb will come to power, he will fight simultaneous wars with all these three powers. And when Aurangzeb will defeat Bijapur and Golconda, what will happen? Marathas will automatically become more powerful. When you will defeat Bijapur and Golconda, what will happen? Bijapur and Golconda previously were neutralizing the power of Marathas. Maratha के power को control करते थे. Now what will happen? Marathas will emerge as more powerful group. This will happen. Clear? So now what will happen the next? The next point is that, okay, if you can say, like in Akbar we discussed that Aurangzeb got the support of Rajput rulers, and with the Rajput rulers, he ensured the victory over large territory or the large area. But this policy was not followed by Aurangzeb. Now just imagine that if Aurangzeb would have been a very wise diplomat, so he could get the support of Marathas, and with Maratha help and support, he could defeat Bijapur and Golconda, but he did not do this. उसने ऐसा नहीं किया. He fought with Bijapur, he fought with Golconda, and at the same time he was fighting with Marathas. And Marathas were expert in fighting guerrilla warfare. तो औरंगजेब को बड़ा परेशान किया. ठीक है? Marathas were expert in fighting guerrilla warfare. And Marathas were also promoting the idea of Hindu Padpadshahi. They were saying that we are protecting Hindu ideals. Okay, now their conflict with Aurangzeb is inevitable because Aurangzeb is also promoting some radical policies. अच्छा, अगर Aurangzeb liberal होता, so he could get the support of Marathas here. This was a possibility. Okay, so due to this contrary belief system, Marathas were promoting Hindu ideals, Hindu Pad Padshahi, and Aurangzeb was promoting Islamic principles and beliefs in a radical manner. Okay, no compromises were made. Now, what we see? The powerful rivals of Aurangzeb are Marathas. The powerful rivals of Aurangzeb are Bijapur and Golconda. And you will be surprised to know that once Aurangzeb entered in this war, the second phase, that is during this period 1681 to 1707, till his death, he was engaged in these wars. He established full control over Bijapur and Golconda. Yes, this is true. Aurangzeb got control, or he established control over Bijapur and Golconda, but till his death, he was engaged in this war. Once this war started, it never ended. एक बार जब ये लड़ाई शुरू हुई तो खत्म ही नहीं हुई. Once this war started, this war never ended. This is the problem. Okay, now what will happen? Look at the perspectives of this. In first phase, he increased the challenges in north, and without solving those challenges, he created new challenges in south, and these challenges were continued till his death. Is this a policy paralysis like situation? Yes. First, you should solve challenges in north, and here Aurangzeb is more focused in south. More focused in south. So what will happen? The challenges in north will be solved, or they will further increase. So they will further increase. So in second phase, the challenges in north were further increased, and in south Aurangzeb created new challenges for himself. This is what misguided policies of Aurangzeb. This is also called misguided policies of Aurangzeb. Misguided policies of Aurangzeb. Have you got this idea? Okay, that's why a historian writes that, okay, you can write a statement here. That statement is very interesting. Write this. Aurangzeb desired to establish full control over Deccan and South India. Aurangzeb desired to establish full control over Deccan and South India. This idea was not practical. Aurangzeb desired to establish full control over Deccan and South India. This idea was not practical. This idea was not practical. Okay. Right. Aurangzeb's Deccan campaigns or military campaigns are compared with Deccan ulcer. Aurangzeb's Deccan military campaigns are often compared with Deccan ulcer. What is the meaning of ulcer? Those who are doctors or patients, both are knowing ulcer, right? Okay. Ulcer becomes life-threatening if it is not properly treated or cured. Okay. So the Deccan military campaigns is often compared with Deccan ulcer that ruined Aurangzeb. Deccan ulcer that ruined Aurangzeb. Deccan ulcer that ruined Aurangzeb. Okay. It ensured the downfall of his empire. It ensured the downfall of his empire. It ensured the downfall of his empire. Dekho, there is also one more comparison, and that's very easy to understand. For example, when you will read world history, you will read about Napoleon. In world history, you will read about Napoleon's military conquest of Spain. Napoleon's military conquest of Spain. In world history, you will read this. Napoleon's military conquest of Spain. This was a mistake of Napoleon. Okay? This ruined Napoleon. Napoleon's military conquest of Spain did what? It ruined Napoleon. इसने Napoleon को बर्बाद कर दिया. In world history, you will read about how this ruined Napoleon. In the same way, in medieval history, what we read that Aurangzeb's Deccan campaign, Deccan and South Indian campaign ruined Aurangzeb. Ruined Aurangzeb. इसने औरंगजेब को बर्बाद कर दिया. So here this military conquest of Spain by Napoleon is also compared with an ulcer, and here the military conquest of Aurangzeb over Deccan and South India is also compared with ulcer. Okay? So if this question is asked, this is interdisciplinary question. It means that one theme of world history can be combined with one theme of medieval history, and you will be asked to write in 150 words. सबसे खतरनाक काम, right? Okay, got it? Now, the statement is Aurangzeb desired to conquer Deccan, South India, like Napoleon wanted to conquer Spain. As Spanish ulcer ruined Napoleon, so the Deccan ulcer ruined Aurangzeb. So write a question. As Spanish ulcer ruined Napoleon, as Spanish ulcer, write in inverted comma, this will be the question. As Spanish ulcer ruined Napoleon, as Spanish ulcer ruined Napoleon. Okay. In the same way, Deccan ulcer, in the same way, Deccan ulcer, in the same way, Deccan ulcer ruined Aurangzeb. Deccan ulcer ruined Aurangzeb. Discuss. Okay, got it? Now, what I will say here is that one more thing I will relate, and that is, देखो, in north, revolts and rebellions is increasing, are continuously increasing. In second phase, that will further increase in north. Got it? So the military expenses will increase in north in the suppression of revolts and rebellions. Ruler will not be focused in north. Revenue collection will come down. And what about south? South में क्या हो रहा है? Military expenses are continuously increasing. In south, what we see, due to these wars, military expenses will increase. Military expenses will increase. Will it put a pressure or burden on the state treasury? The answer is yes. It will put a pressure or burden on state treasury. Okay? When Aurangzeb will die, account balance will be very low. बेचारे का account balance बहुत कम है. And who will face the challenge? Successors. Right? Empty treasury is one of the most important point. When Aurangzeb died in 1707, write this. Aurangzeb died in 1707. Aurangzeb died in 1707. And what happened? The state treasury was empty. Aurangzeb died in 1707 and the state treasury was empty. Why the state treasury was empty? Do you understand? Okay. And after the death of Aurangzeb, the revolts and rebellions will come down or they will further increase. They will further increase. The state treasury is empty. Okay. Now, the next important point here is that Mansabdari system, we can also call it Jagirdari system. It was introduced by Akbar in the year 1567, right? Then continued during Jahangir's time, continued during Shah Jahan time. We have already discussed. During Aurangzeb time, it is continued, and changes were also introduced in this system from time to time. During Aurangzeb time, what happened? Which changes were introduced in this Mansabdari system or Jagirdari system? So point 1, Jagirs or mansabs were distributed in a reckless manner. Reckless manner. बिना सोचे समझे जागीर को बांटा गया, ज्यादा से ज्यादा जागीर बांटा गया. So Jagirs and mansabs were given or were allotted in a reckless manner. Right? This will create a challenge or not? Yes, this will create a challenge. Now the second point is what? Mansabdar's power and authority has been increased. Mansabdar's power and authority has been increased. This will create challenges for his successors. Mansabdars will become more powerful. So after the death of Aurangzeb, if the central powerful authority of the ruler is weaker, what will happen? Powerful mansabdars will create additional challenges for the weak successors of Mughal Empire. राजा कमजोर हो जाएगा, मनसबदार पहले से ज्यादा पावरफुल हो गया. What will happen? This will create additional challenges. Clear? So what we see here, that during Aurangzeb's time, what is happening? Mansabdari system and Jagirdari system, they are effectively managed, or they are also declining. This system is also declining. Degradation of this system started. Degradation of this system started during Aurangzeb's time. And again it will create future challenges for the successors. It will create future challenges for the successor. Okay. So I hope you have got this. Okay. Now write a question. Do you consider that Aurangzeb ensured? Do you consider that Aurangzeb ensured? Do you consider that Aurangzeb ensured the decline of Mughal power in India? Do you consider that Aurangzeb ensured the decline of Mughal power in India? Aurangzeb ensured the decline of Mughal power in India? Question mark. Discuss. Discuss. Okay. The question language can be something else also. Now, Aurangzeb topic we